Okay, go for it.
This is Elizabeth Zelinka Parsons, and you are listening to Vroom Vroom Veer with Jeff Smith, reminding you to check out my new book, Encore, A High Achiever's Guide to Thriving in Retirement.
Well done. Wow. You got a little NPR vibe going there. I kind of dig it.
All right. Hey, as long as it works for you, I can redo it.
No. It's great. Okay.
Is that good? All right.
Let me hit stop. I'll be right back.
Are you ready to thoughtfully steer away from your revved up, frenzied, and far too often scripted life? Then welcome to Vroom Vroom Veer with Jeff Smith, where he guides you down the road differently traveled by sharing unique experiences with guests who have managed to shift away from a life stuck on cruise control and veered their way into a more authentic and fulfilling one in all sorts of interesting and kind of remarkable ways. Get ready to Vroom Vroom Veer with your differently traveled road chauffeur, Jeff Smith.
Jon Chandonnet. I hope I got that right.
You nailed it.
All right. Perfect.
You keep nailing it.
All right. Thanks for being here. Welcome to the show. How's it going?
It's going great. Yeah. I'm in beautiful San Diego. So
San Diego's
how can
awesome.
it not be great?
Yeah, San Diego's awesome. Yes. Spent a lot of time in San Diego. So, yeah, it's a good spot. You picked a good place to live. Outside of taxes being way too high, it's a great spot.
Right. Exactly.
So you are at Vibrant U Academy. So talk a little bit about what you're most excited in your business today.
So I love my business because I wrote a book,
Right.
and through that book, I figured out the 7 keys to living your best life. I live with MS, I leak energy, and I had to find a way to plug those leaks
Right.
through the 7 key energies that we all use and have.
Right.
Physical, emotional, professional, financial, the voice, social, mental, and spiritual. So those energies power our life. And most people are very unaware of what they're doing around them.
Totally.
I had to become hyper aware of it because
No choice.
my body leaks energy because my nerves are frayed.
Right.
And so I had to figure out a system to not allow that to happen.
So you're scratching your own itch here.
Yeah. Right. No, I figured that out, and and I built a business around it. Like, how cool is that?
Yeah. As it turns out, everybody leaks energy. You don't have to have MS to leak energy. Everybody does.
Right, and that's the thing.
So
Right,
it works
right.
for everybody. Right.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
No, Jeffrey, that's the thing. Like, the thing I just stumbled on is like universal.
Totally.
And people love it, I work with people 18 to 25,
Sure.
but then I also work with people from 45 to 65.
Sure. Yeah. It's totally universal. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It reminds me of like a lot of other things that you've kind of like built through like trial and error, or something that easily overlays on a lot of different systems. So when I see that, I can tell that you've kind of like tapped into something universal, cross-cultural, all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Jeffrey, thank you. Yeah.
You have.
Right.
Because you're scratching an itch for you that happens to apply to humanity. So good for you. Congratulations on that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about you before you got your diagnosis with MS way back when. So you were like an athlete, you were a nerd, computer nerd, right? So talk about you like in high school. What was your mental state like, and what kind of kid were you in high school?
In high school, I was the captain of the soccer team.
Okay. Gotcha.
I was the captain of the lacrosse team.
Gotcha.
I was in honors courses,
Okay.
I was a smart kid.
Right. Smart and fit and athletic. Yeah.
Smart, fit, athletic, had more friends, so many great friends, so much abundance around friendship. Moved my senior year in high school and still kind of continued the same success
Right.
from both schools. And
Well, that's
like
great.
so I had my senior year, I I had both school fun weekends. My parents let me travel back and forth
Oh,
and
wow.
experience homecoming, prom, all the fun events at both schools. It's like, oh
Wow.
my God, like a
Double
charmed
whammy.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's fun.
it was amazing.
Yeah. So, what was your plan after high school? Were you planning to go to college
Yeah,
immediately? Okay.
I went to college. I went to the University of Richmond, was super involved there. You know, athletically, I played club lacrosse
Okay.
and I was president of student government.
Wow.
Um, I ran a bike race that raised enough money every year to build a home for Habitat for Humanity
Oh, wow.
and was involved all 4 years. I was super involved,
Yeah.
and
You were in
I
the
mean,
high achievers cult.
yeah, I was like, I was like an achiever on steroids. It's like people were like, "Shando, calm down, dude. It's
Shando.
okay."
Best nickname ever.
Yeah, Shando, dude, calm down. It's
I
okay.
get it though. I get it. That I my last guest last week we went over this, right? Like
Yeah,
when you're in school, everybody has to find their niche of fitting in. But once
yeah,
you
yeah,
find something you're good at, you start
yeah,
identifying with that, right?
yeah,
So if you're good at like sports, that's part of my identity. Oh, I'm good at this. Oh, that's part of my identity. And it just becomes like, part of who you are, right?
yeah.
Until it's not.
Right.
Which is very scary and sad, right? When you get into that trap. Okay.
Totally.
So it sounds like you're having a good time.
Yeah.
You're probably a little frazzled, but you're not noticing it because you're young and fit, right?
Right. And I didn't sleep, I didn't sleep a lot,
Right.
and I got good, because like I was really involved, but I also got really good grades.
Sure. Yeah. And when
Like,
you're young, you can maintain that level of
yeah, yeah,
effort,
yeah,
It's not,
and
you
then,
don't even notice really.
yeah.
Right.
And then I went, I worked in national service, President Clinton's national
Oh,
service plan
nice.
policy, I worked in that. And that was a lot of fun after I graduated. And then I went to grad school, at MIT, and that was a
Wow.
wild place. I was at MIT in the late 90s, as the
Crazy. Yeah.
technology revolution was going crazy, and I
Yeah.
got a front row seat.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And funny thing though was my final semester at MIT, I got diagnosed with MS. I was on an
Sure.
intramural basketball court, and I lost fine motor control of my right arm and
Yikes.
right leg. And I was like,
Just like while you're playing a game.
while I was playing the game, it was like I was a spaz on the court, and
Right.
I couldn't control my body,
Wow.
jackknifing up and down the court, trying to carry my leg,
Wow.
will my way,
Wow.
and
That's got to be a shocking kind of experience.
oh my God, it was.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Right.
I thought it was a pulled muscle.
Sure.
I was an athlete, so I
Sure.
knew what pulled muscles were.
Yeah.
But
And then the
man,
coach is probably saying, "Oh, you're dehydrated," or "Get you some
right,
Gatorade," right, or something.
right,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah. Yeah.
right. So
You're
so I
cramping.
called. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. I raised my hand. I said, call for a sub, got out of the game, went and stretched. And I was like, this is not a pulled muscle. I'm not feeling. So I limped around campus for, a month, got an MRI. MRI says, yep, John, you've got a couple lesions on your brain. You've got
Oh my God.
MS.
Wow.
Lesions are where demyelination is, where the fatty protective
Wow. Okay.
insulation
Yeah. Yeah.
nerves wears away.
Right.
And I'm like, what the fuck? I have MS? No, I
Wow.
don't.
Wow.
I'm about to graduate
And
and
how
get
old were you at this point?
I was 27.
Wow.
I
Yeesh.
was 27. And then and you know what I
I
did?
didn't even know that could happen. I mean, I
Yeah,
know a
yeah,
lot of people I've actually worked with a guy with MS,
yeah.
and he was dealing with it, but it seemed like it was one of those from birth kind of things, but apparently not. See, so now
No,
I'm learning
it's
it's an
not.
acquired kind of thing. Huh?
It is.
Okay.
You know, a lot of the research right now says there is some kind of inciting incident, and for me it was mono, um,
Okay. Oh,
a
wow.
viral infection
Right.
at 17, and then like 10 years later it manifests as MS.
Right.
And a lot of research is showing that's like clockwork. It's like that it happens
Pretty regular. Right.
pretty regularly
It's
for
kind of
people
like
who,
you can track
but
that. Like you get
yeah,
mono, then
yeah.
the percentage of chance of contracting MS skyrockets kind of idea.
Yeah, I don't know the exact.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't
But it's
put too much
trackable,
in.
right? It's a
Yeah,
known,
it
right.
is.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the exact numbers on that, so I don't,
Sure,
want to
sure.
quote it.
Right.
But yeah, there is a connection. There's a correlation.
Right.
Yes. Um,
Yikes.
so you know what I did though? I graduated. I got a great job with a technology startup.
Right.
I denied it. I gave MS the finger. I said,
Okay.
I said, F you, I don't have you. I
F
didn't
you.
kill you.
This is all bullshit. I don't have
Yeah,
MS. Okay.
I don't have you. And,
Okay.
and I had
Strangely
relapsing.
enough, that it reminds me of, what do they call those? The stages of death, right?
Stage of grief. Yeah,
Stages of grief. There you go.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So you were grieving the death of the old you.
But I wasn't. I was
Well, you were in
denying it.
denial.
I was in denial.
Right.
I was totally in denial. And,
Right.
I had a job with a startup, technology startup, Sapient Corporation. I moved to San Francisco. I left the diagnosis in a box on the tarmac at Boston Logan Airport and jetted off to live my West Coast dream.
Wow.
Okay.
So you're
I was like,
I'm not going back. Maybe if I just ignore this, it'll go away. I just don't
yeah,
have it. Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Because you know why? Because the medical community had no answer.
Oh, there was no treatment.
There was no treatment. And there is no treatment still.
Wow.
There's drugs that can slow the progression, but
Okay.
there's no treatment. There's,
There's
yeah,
nothing. They have nothing to offer, right? Other than slow. Right.
right,
So
right.
what are the side effects that go with those medications?
Um,
Don't know. You never tried.
oh, I did. I tried them
Okay.
all. I
Okay.
tried them all.
All right.
I tried two beta interferons, and one of them led to, a crazy episode one night where I totally lost control of my body.
That does not sound fun.
Yeah, it was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
this is not fun at all.
Like a
And so,
seizure kind of thing, or
yeah,
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 yeah. Like okay.
it was like an out of body moment
Yeesh.
where I lost, like I was totally paralyzed in the bed,
Oh my god. Yeah.
you know?
Okay.
And
So that does not sound good.
that was a scary moment for me.
I bet.
You
Yeah.
know, so I went to my neurologist and I got another med. We
Okay.
we changed meds.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, I've been on all of them, but they didn't really. They can slow the progression.
Right.
That's what they do.
Right.
Which that's thankful. You got to be thankful for that.
Right.
But then, in denial, when I was working in that technology company, I did amazing things.
Sure.
Okay. I was working 60 to 80-hour weeks launching um, internet startups, building enterprise applications, you know, and I was running marathons.
Wow. And
I was
climbing mountains.
running marathons, triathlons. I was climbing Whitney,
Wow.
14,000 feet,
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Whitney, Shasta, Tyndall. There's 14,000 foot peaks in California, and I was on a mission to climb them all.
Wow. Wow.
And it was amazing.
And you're doing all of this with MS in
With
denial.
MS, in denial. I'm like, wait, if I just work harder
Okay.
and I don't even give it any space, is it
Right.
really there?
Okay.
You know, which is, and it worked.
Okay.
6 years in, I was like, denial is the answer to MS. That was going to be the first book I was going to write.
Wow. Okay.
But then I got engaged, and then over the next 2 years, everything went away. I mean, I was failing online tests at work, for things that I'd been around. I'd been at the company for 8 years. I knew well enough to teach, but I
Right.
couldn't keep the concept straight in my mind.
Right. Right.
So I
Right.
was falling downstairs, okay,
Wow. Right.
literally falling down.
Yeah. Yeah.
My mind and my mouth lost connection.
Okay.
So, and not just that, but my speech was slurred.
Okay. Right.
Okay. And
So now you're
so,
starting to look like someone with MS.
I'm starting to look and feel,
Right.
and I'm like, oh my gosh, John,
Mount.
you do have MS.
Wow.
And I was
And
in
how
trouble.
many
And
years into this? This was 6
this
years
was
of denial.
this was 8 years.
8 years of denial. Wow.
Yeah, this is eight
Wow.
years. And I wrote a book, Shadow Summit,
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
all that tells this whole story,
Right.
like of denial
Right. Wow.
and trying to fight it, And I talk about being on Mount Shasta. Mount Shasta is a volcano, you
Right.
know, up in
Beautiful. It's a really
Northern
good
California.
spot. Yeah, I love
Yeah,
that.
it
I
is.
love that. I've never been to the mountain, but I've
Yeah,
been
yeah.
to Weed in the Shasta area.
Yeah,
It's an
yeah.
awesome spot. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It's spiritual. It's magical.
Yeah.
And I was
And they have
climbing.
hot springs up there too. I love the
Yeah.
hot springs.
Well, the summit, you can smell sulfur on the summit.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's a little lake where
You got
the
the
vents
sulfur vent.
the
Yeah.
vents emit the steam that
Yeah.
melts the snow. So there's a lake up there
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
in the middle of winter,
Wow.
like
You
which
have to
is
climb there to get there, I would imagine.
oh my God, you have to and you climb from 5,000 feet. So
Okay. Oh, from 5,000 feet base camp. So you can
yeah,
drive the first 5,000.
right,
Okay.
right, and then
Gotcha.
you start at 5,000.
So you
At-
almost want to acclimate to 5,000 if you're a sea level guy like me.
Right, right. So
Yeah.
you sleep the first night at
Right.
5,000 feet
Right. Yeah.
at base camp,
Right.
and then you hike to 10,400 feet
Okay. And then sleep some more.
and sleep there,
Okay.
and then wake up at 2 in the morning
Oof. For the summit.
and put your headlamp on
Yeah.
and go to the summit.
Wow.
And I was on the big hump from that 10,000 foot camp up towards the summit, and I felt like I was in the middle of an attack.
Oh, no.
I talk about that in the book. I just willed my way up,
Wow.
and I got to the top,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it happened. But that was the last 14. That was the last 14er I climbed.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's kind of a wake up call.
That was a wake up call. Like I
Right.
had,
Yeah. Because if you actually go into attack mode, right. And then,
I had a wake up call on Mount Shasta,
yeah.
and it woke me up to the fact that, John, you got to do something.
Sure.
And
That makes
so
sense.
that something was, my brother encouraged me to go to a raw vegan retreat center,
Okay. Oh,
and
nice.
I spent 4 months there, and basically healed my body.
That's amazing.
And so I went in the slurred speech, I
Yeah,
went in clinging to handrails, barely able to walk, shuffling my feet
Right.
like a 90-year-old man.
Sure. Sure.
But I came out 4 months later. My mind is clear.
Okay.
I'm striding long-legged,
Right.
and I'm not needing to hold on to anything.
Right.
And I got my life back. And 3 months after I returned home, my wife was pregnant
With big Shando.
with big Shando. With big Shando, my son. And no, Jeffrey,
Yeah.
Jeffrey, that would not have happened if I hadn't done that raw vegan retreat and
Sure.
turned everything around.
Right. So
Yeah.
let's talk about like what happened at that retreat. So obviously the diet is the big headline, right?
Right.
But there's
right.
got to be more to it than that.
Yeah, no, right. No, and I've got a well-being system based on seven vibrants.
Yeah,
And
talk about it.
at OHI,
Hmm.
which is that place, I
Right.
found four of the vibrants. Okay.
Okay.
The mind, the body, spirit, and emotions. So the
Okay.
mind was everything that
That's
goes in
self-talk. Yeah, yeah.
what I think, self-talk,
See, and
you
you
know.
were already really good at that. I could tell. I mean, like denial is one piece
Uh-huh.
of the arsenal of mind, right? That I have
No, I
found that it's not so much denial has a kind of a shitty connotation. Let me tell a brief story that kind of relates to what you're talking about.
yeah, yeah.
So you've probably done a lot of international travel, maybe, maybe not. But my
I have.
wife, being from Japan, right? I spent a lot of time on airplanes moaning in my head, like saying, "Oh my God, when is this flight going to be over?" To nobody but me, right?
Right. Right.
Right. And then as soon as we land, there's all these social requirements that you have to do in Japan that you don't in other places with mom and dad. And all I want to do is just go to bed. You've been there, right?
Yeah.
So I learned like it doesn't really matter, right? I don't have to go to a meeting. I don't have to go, take a test. All I'm there to do is just visit family, right? I don't have any requirements, right? So I said, okay, well, what's really wrong with me? I'm kind of like punchy, drunk, and pissy. So what? None of that's going to kill me, right? So I
Right.
decided just to accept all of that and,
Right.
and stop being a whiny bitch
Right.
to absolutely nobody but myself. Right.
But that's
It's
you getting in
huge.
touch. That's you getting in touch with your emotions and your feeling.
Yes.
And that's what I learned at OHI, was emotional literacy
Okay.
and
Right.
and just understanding, like, I can't deny feeling.
No,
Feeling just
it's
is.
undeniable. Right.
Feeling is just like the water flowing through you.
Right.
The
You can
earth element,
negotiate with it, but you can't deny it.
right? The earth element for emotions is water. And
Okay.
so you have to let emotions flow.
Yes.
Okay. You know?
They arise.
Yes.
Now, if you catch them and you kind of hang out with them, right, you're going to fill your bowl and just stare at it, right? Okay, well, then that's where you're going to be. Like
Right.
me, whining to no one but myself, right?
Right.
Or you can go, there it is. I feel that. Let's let that go.
Yeah.
Just let it go. Okay.
Right. Right.
I acknowledge you that I'm like tired, irritable. I want to lay down. I'm cranky. My legs hurt. I'm going to acknowledge everything and just let it go. I'm
Right.
still okay. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So back to OHI, I found them. I found mind and thought, the power of thought. I found how to connect with emotion authentically.
Okay. Good.
I
Nice.
found I found the body. I got into my body. I figured out how to connect with my chi prana, with my life force energy.
Okay. Oh, neat. All
Okay.
right.
And I figured out how to bring it back.
Okay. Wow. That's neat.
I brought it back.
You
All
can
right.
sort of like tune into the different.
Well, there's six doctors of life force. Okay.
Okay.
It's simple. It's very simple. It's diet. It's what you eat.
Right.
It's water. It's
Right.
being hydrated.
Right.
It's exercise.
Right. Yes,
Okay.
for sure.
It's sleep,
Yes, for sure.
sunshine, and
Totally.
it's breathing.
Totally.
Breathing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Those
Yeah.
six doctors
Yes.
feed
Your
prana,
body. Yes.
prana
Your
life force.
energy. Yes.
Right. And
Yeah.
so if you're feeding those six, you've got it. If you're not, you don't.
Right. True.
You
MS
know,
or
it's
not MS. You're right.
MS or not.
Right.
Like this is not just someone with an MS. This is like, again, this
Everybody.
is
Yeah.
simple universal truth.
Right. Totally.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. And so physical and then spiritual. I also found spiritual,
Sure.
which is, the energy of spiritual is connection.
Mm-hmm.
And I found connection with myself,
Mm.
but also I found the fact that everything is going to be okay.
Totally.
You know,
Regardless. Yes.
regardless.
Everything is always okay.
I'm going to
The
be
only thing
okay.
that's not okay is maybe you and your state temporarily.
Right. Right.
Right.
Right. Like, there
Outside
may
of
be
that, right? Like I had that epiphany once, and you probably had this experience too, right? Like you're going through a fit, and this is probably when you have a little bit more awareness of that spirit connection, and you can go, you can sort of separate and put some space between what's happening and you.
Yes.
And you
Yes.
are back here
Yes.
experiencing that.
Exactly.
My body is really wacky right now. That's not
Right.
me.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly, Jeffrey.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Been there, done
Yes.
that. Yes. Right.
Yes.
Even when you're exhausted, like your spirit is never exhausted. It has unlimited, it doesn't even know what energy is. It's like, that body is really tired. You need to do something about that. That's your job.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And, you know, and I also learned, you know, an aspect of spirituality is I got to take care of myself. I'm responsible for myself.
Yep.
No one is going to save me.
No.
They're with
People
'cause
can help you. People can help you, but
they
not
can
save you.
They can support you.
Support
They
you.
can support
Exactly.
you.
Right.
But no one's going to save you. And that's
No.
the funny thing with MS.
Right.
The only one that can save you
Is you.
is you.
Right. That's true.
And that's no one,
And that's not MS. That's everything.
there's no cure, there's no doctor that's got the
Right.
magic bullet.
Right. Totally.
And I was fortunate to learn that at 37. You
Right.
know, like some people go all their life and don't learn that, and they're still
True.
waiting for, you know, the drug to end obesity. You
Right.
know, they're waiting for the drug to cure, you know, their crazy thinking, which,
Right.
you know, okay, I understand that there are drugs that are
That's
important
support. Yes.
for mental illness. I get
Yeah,
that.
they
I get
support.
that. But there's also functional things you can do
Yes.
in support of your well-being, your mental well-being.
Yeah. I just heard about this book. I know this is another tangent, but like there's a guy out there and he's like thoroughly convinced that almost all mental health and health issues have a dietary, you know, component, a movement component, just what you were talking about, right? It's only now getting recognized by mainstream practitioners. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No. And that book,
And of course the system fights it because they want to sell those pills.
right.
Right.
Right. And also there's a second insight that in the medical community is all health begins in the gut.
True.
And, you know, Parkinson's and MS, there's studies coming out that are showing a connection between harmful bacteria
Right.
in the gut
Right.
and those diseases that people who are healthy don't have.
Right.
And that's what I did at OHI. That was really what I did at OHI is I got my gut biome to be healthy again.
Right.
That's really
those micronutrients, the probiotics, the prebiotics, all of
And
that.
that's what healed my body.
I had an experience years ago, like around 2005 to 9-ish, I guess, where I was hanging out like with a lot of raw vegans. Now I never went raw vegan, right? That's more of an ethos to me, but I did take away that the body needs micronutrients a lot.
Right. I mean,
a lot.
I mean, I was raw vegan for 3 years, you know, and on
Good
and
for you.
off
Yeah.
raw vegan for 15. But I didn't do it out of like morally.
Right.
Like I did
You
it
do because
I,
you wanted to have health. Right.
I had to heal my
It's
body.
medicine. It was medicine.
It was medicine. I mean, now today, you know, 16 months ago, I started a paleo keto diet
Right.
because
Yep.
my MS morphed to secondary progressive.
Right. Paleo
And
keto is really good for when you stay in ketosis. You've got like a much better, like it's like cancer can't survive there, and all the different like toxins can't survive in a ketosis
yeah,
body. Right.
like who knew that? Like,
I know.
so
It's
like,
crazy.
like I found one healing protocol 20 years ago. Okay. And I veered away from it. You talk about boom, boom, veer.
Right.
Well, I veered away from it. I got divorced and I didn't know how to cook. And so I cooked very simple, easy things,
Right.
pastas, rices,
Yeah. Yeah.
and all those grains uh, are inflammatory in the body.
Totally.
And so, and sugar, um,
Yep.
it's all inflammatory. And so
Yep.
I had to lift that whole load off my body
Yeah.
to allow my body to heal.
Right.
And and lo and behold, I'm healing a second time from MS,
Mm.
and it's nuts.
Yeah,
It's nuts.
let's talk about this last recurrence. So what was the story of like, okay, you go to OHI, how long were you sort of like better? And then tell us that story.
Yeah, so I was better. Um,
Coming out of that vegan retreat, right?
yeah, out of the vegan retreat, we had a son, you
Right.
know. Um, I but 3 years in, my body started to slow down a bit.
Okay.
And so I had to leave my work because it was too intense.
Right.
And
Another
so
another way to leak energy is working too much.
right,
Not sleeping
right,
enough. Yeah.
right, right. And it just didn't serve me. So
Right.
I had to veer away from that. And I wrote for 8 years. I wrote the book.
Right.
And and then in 2012, I launched my coaching business, Vibrant You Academy. And then my health was okay. My health
Okay.
was
Kind of like
okay.
stabilized, not
It
thriving,
was
but
kind of stabilized.
right.
It was, relapsing, remitting, up and down. I was able to coach my son on the lacrosse field,
Okay.
9 years ago. I was able to run around. I was able to throw and catch lacrosse
Right.
balls, and
That's pretty
you
good
know,
for somebody with MS.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, right, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And and then that was 8 years ago, and then and then I went through the divorce process, and my
Mm.
body started to slow down.
But that's a lot of stress.
Yeah, yeah, it is
Yeah.
emotional, physical. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it
It's
manifests itself.
basically like a what do they call those? It's like a transformation. Like
Yeah,
going
it
into
is.
it, it's like you're grieving a little bit and you don't
Uh-huh.
know who you're going to be anymore.
Yeah,
It's
you
like you're
don't.
becoming another person. Yes.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you do. And my wife, my ex-wife and I, we totally consciously co-parented our son.
That's great.
We put everything into him, and we put our egos on the side, and just for him, because we wanted for him to have the best life he could.
Sure.
But again, it's putting some of yourself on the shelf.
Totally.
And so and then 4 years ago, I started to slow down,
Mm.
uh, and such that 2 years ago, I knew I was in trouble, but I was in denial.
Okay.
But I finally woke up in November of 23, and it was like, I got to do something about this. My son's about to go to school. I gotta take care of myself better.
Okay.
And that's when I went paleo keto on Terry Wall's protocol.
Okay.
Uh, Terry Walls is a doctor. She's got a protocol. She's got MS,
Oh,
and
wow. Okay.
she had she turned around her secondary progressive MS,
Okay.
and I'm like, that's the answer. And
Totally.
I'm like, if she can do
How
it,
lucky, right? That they're not only is she a doctor making up a cure, but she also is scratching her own itch. That's perfect.
Right. And she's
Right.
developed a protocol. And
Right.
she's developed a protocol
Yeah.
that is, you know, statistically significant to turn around the condition.
I believe
She
it.
puts
Yeah.
people through studies and she wants to put a lot of science behind it.
Yeah.
Like what I did the first time was kind of like a shot in the dark,
Right.
you know,
Well,
like,
also like when you showed up to that vegan retreat, the raw vegan retreat, you were
yeah,
probably like, if a healthy person went there, they would feel amazing
right,
because they're going from
right,
the sad diet to a good
right,
diet.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. From the standard American diet. Right.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I had like nothing technically wrong with me.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I had a lot wrong with me when I was on my sad diet, but I was normal, right? I was
Yeah.
quote
Yeah.
unquote normal. I was like everybody. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but what I noticed was like my friends could stand and walk a lot longer than me, and they were younger than me. I was like, even these older
Yeah.
guys, they can stand and walk. There's something wrong, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was that diet, the
Yeah.
sugar and all the junk food. Yeah. It's just, once you get off of it, it's like everybody feels better.
Right. Right. I
Yeah.
mean, it took my body a long time recently to figure out how to run off of fat
Yeah. There's a huge transition.
rather than carbs.
Yes.
It's like, it's, it's pretty brutal.
Yeah. Your body feels like it's starving for a
It
while.
does.
Yeah.
And your energy, you don't have the energy. And
Right.
so you throw that on top of someone with dealing with MS, it's like, what the fuck do you want to wish that on yourself for, buddy? What are you doing?
I get it. Yes.
Go get some sugar, go
Yeah.
get a high around that, go
Yeah.
drink
Yeah.
some caffeine,
Right.
go pump your body up, buddy. Come on, wake up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm like, that was not the answer because
Totally.
that was going to prolong the misery. And
Right.
that's what the whole thing was. Jeffrey, how do I figure out how to stop the madness?
Right. Yeah. 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 I get it.
Like you. And
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
what
yeah.
you did.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you did, Jeffrey. You
Oh, yeah.
stopped your madness.
Yeah, and it's not easy. Not easy on any
Yeah.
level. I mean, physically for you, it was probably more difficult, but like just socially, right? You show up to like lunch and you've got a salad and a handful of supplements and your green smoothie, and they think you're got 6 heads. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Oh, you're
Right.
one of those health nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Right. Right.
I know. Yeah, still goes on, but that's okay. I've just like backed off of all of that. It's like, you're going to think what you're going to think. I'm going to have this green smoothie.
Yeah. Because I'm going to live my life for me. I'm not
Exactly.
living my life for you.
Right. Yeah.
I don't need to impress you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just need to live my life
Right.
as fulfilled as I can.
Yeah. 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 So I like that because it's like you're cutting through, the bullshit.
Yeah, the BS, right?
Yes.
Totally.
Right. Yeah. So let's talk about how you help folks at Vibrant You Academy and your coaching sessions. So like what sorts of stuff do people go through when they come see you for coaching and stuff?
Yeah, I know. I've got this 13-week program.
Okay.
And so we do 4 weeks of assess, and we
Okay.
assess people around each of those 7 vibrants. And
Okay.
basically I ask people questions and I just listen to them. And
Right.
they share kind of how things are going.
Right.
And we spit out a score, and then we go into a plan phase for each of the 7,
Okay.
where we identify what you want in each of the 7 for a year out, 3 to 5 years out, and 10 years out.
Well, that's great.
And most people don't ever think of those things.
Right.
Like, where do they want their money to be? Where do they want their body to be in 10 years? Where do they want their
Right.
emotions to be? How emotionally literate do they want to be?
Wow. Yeah.
Sure.
Sure.
And we plan all that out. And then we have a third phase, which is practice. Actually, before we go into practice, I create their operating system with them.
Oh,
Their
nice.
vibrant operating system
Nice.
around each of these 7. And
I love
then we
it.
practice
Okay.
so they can install this operating system into their life. And so I was a systems engineer.
I get
I
it.
was
I get it.
computer,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I
I
was
get it.
computer application development. And so I have a very systematic thinking.
It works perfectly for me because the metaphor of working with a computer sounds great. You know, and most nerds, I mean, you don't even have to be a nerd anymore, right? We all install apps, right? And we
Right.
all know what an OS is, right?
Right.
You need the
Right.
latest version of UOS.
Right, right. It's Vibrant UOS.
There you go.
You nailed it, Jeffrey. That's how I brand it. It's the Vibrant U operating system.
That's perfect. Yeah.
And that's what we do.
Yeah. So and you can do your own versioning.
Yeah. No, and that's
I love it.
and it's you creating your own life.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just asking questions and taking great notes. That's what
Your
I do.
support system.
I listen, I ask questions, and take great notes.
Right.
And I spit it back to you. I hold up the mirror, spit it back to you and say, this is what you said you want
Right.
to live your best life, to take your life to the top of the mountain, because most people bumble and stumble along, go in circles. We don't understand how to consistently go on an upward trajectory.
Right. Climb the
And
mountain. Yeah. That's a good metaphor.
and it's possible. Jeffrey, it's not heresy. Like, it's possible.
Yeah.
It's just you just have to understand the way.
And it doesn't have to be like these like super achievement, like sort of like established, like you have to climb all these mountains. No, this is your own personal defined mountain climb.
Exactly.
It's a metaphor of mountain climb.
Exactly, Jeffrey.
Yeah, yeah.
Based on your inherent skills, attributes, what makes you
Desire, what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Desire as well.
Yeah.
And that is what it comes from within you.
Right.
It's not you trying to attach to some great
External
outcome.
thing. Right.
It comes from within you.
Yeah. 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 Not everybody wants to climb a mountain.
No.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
I get it.
Some people want to surf a wave. Well,
There you
yeah.
go. Somebody wants to just meditate on a beach, whatever.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So have you done like any sorts of meditation?
Yeah, I meditate every day.
Yeah. Yeah. So talk a little bit about your practice and how it helps you out.
So I started really 4.5 years ago.
Okay.
I had moved into a place on my own,
Uh-huh.
and my second week in, I was like, I need a morning routine
Yes.
to ground me, and I need a reason to get out of bed in the morning.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
you know what? I've got a meditation mat right on the ground, and it pulls me out of bed in the morning because it grounds me.
Oh yeah.
And I've been doing it. I'm on a 150-day straight
That's great.
sequence right now
Good for you.
because it's not obligation. Okay. It's desire.
Yeah. Yeah.
The mat pulls me out of bed in the morning, and that grounds me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I only do it for 10 minutes.
Sure.
I do this great Calm app, and it's just a great way to focus and start my day.
What's his name? Is that Andy? Is it Andy on the Calm app? I don't remember.
No,
it's been too long now.
It's a woman.
Oh, wow. Okay. Headspace is Andy. Okay.
Yeah. It's Tamara Levitt.
Oh, nice. Oh, wow.
On Calm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just found another app that I'm experimenting with. Because I'm aware of Calm and Headspace.
Yep.
If you get a chance and you want to, totally up to you. But it's called The Way app.
Yeah.
I think you can get 30 days free through a link on Tim Ferriss' webpage.
Yep.
So try it for 30 days. So this guy, his name is Henry Shookman.
Yep.
And he's like one of the only non-Japanese person that is an actual Zazen approved Zen master from the school in Japan. And he's from England. But I've tried a lot of different meditation. And and I heard like the feedback that Tim Ferriss and his buddy, I can't remember his name now, talked about with Henry's app, The Way, was like you can really feel that lineage, that tradition of teaching coming through the app, if that makes any kind of sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So like just 10 minutes with Henry is like worth, 3 hours with a lot of, because it's very, you're committing to a way and it's very slow. It's 10 minutes a day, but you're learning like a step-by-step process, like as if you were out there sitting with a master in Japan, and which is amazing.
and to the point earlier, it's instilling a meditation
practice
mindset operating system
totally
into how you experience life.
Yeah. I mean,
Right.
I've meditated a lot, but Henry is like, I could feel the difference is what I would say.
Yeah.
right
That's so cool.
away. Yeah.
I wrote that down.
Check it out. Get the 30 days free, and check it out. All right. Hey, John.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can say it again. Chandonnet.
You got it.
All right.
You nailed it.
Congratulations for being climbing mountains and going to MIT and figuring out how to tell MS to F off.
Well, but wait,
Sure.
You can't, you have to live in harmony with it.
That
I
makes sense.
get the joke,
Yep.
But I couldn't tell it to F off because it can bring me to my knees
Right.
in any moment.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
It's funny. It's funny to say that. Yeah, that's how I treated it back then. It's great. It's so fun. But
Yes.
you know what?
It's not
It's
a long-term solution.
No, it's not.
Yes.
I said F you, and it said F you back
Yes.
and brought me to my knees.
Totally. Yes. I went through similar thing with depression, Like I tell people the story about suicide attempts and things like that in my 20s.
Yeah.
And my first step off of depression was fuck it. Now, fuck it works for a while. It's just
Right.
like you and your, fuck off
Deny.
MS. Right, exactly. You're
Right.
you're just going to say, meh. Right. Denial.
Right.
It works for a while, but it's not a solution. Yes. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yes. John, thank you so much. This has been a blast. So people can check out your stuff at vibrantuacademy.com. So anything else you want to say before we shut off the recorder?
No, people can also check out my book, Shadow Summit,
for
Shadow
sure.
Summit on Amazon. So I hope that people find their vibrant you. That's
for
really
sure.
what I want people to do. And it's very unique.
Right.
It's very unique, and it's
Totally.
based on what you want. That's your vibrant you. It's not my vibrant you. It's your vibrant you.
Which is what you want. I don't want to be John.
No, right. You
You're
don't.
already John and you're kicking its ass. So
Yeah, right. Yeah.
thanks, John. This has been a blast. You have a good one.
Jeffrey, thank you.
Thanks for taking the time to ride along with us on another episode of Vroom Vroom Veer. For podcast info and show notes, be sure to head over to vvveer.com. That's VVER.com. Man, that's fun to say. And we'll catch up with you next time here on Vroom Vroom Veer.